A Moment with Dr. Audreyann Moses.
I'm Dr. Audreyann Moses, and I am just so grateful to be with you all today. This is Dr. Audreyann's Moment, and today we're going to be talking about transition. And we're going to be talking about how do you do transition and how does it make you feel, and how do you conquer all the different stresses that are involved with transition. So let's start talking about why would you transition. And when I say transition, I mean going to a new job, a new city, a new relationship, having a baby, getting married. Well, get married, then have a baby. We do want to do it in the right order, but just different things that we do that changes our life from one position to another. So we're going to talk about what are some of the things that occur to us emotionally when we're going through that transition phase. And I'll tell you a little bit about some of the things I went through when I transitioned from the United States Navy to civilian world, and when I completely retired from working to now just having fun. So transition can be extremely emotional, and it affects you internally, not only emotionally, but sometimes physically as well. We have a fear of change. And why do we have a fear of change? Mainly because we've been doing the same thing in a certain way for a certain amount of time. And we've gotten comfortable in doing that. And we have learned how to make it work in the position in the world that we're in. So for your job, if you are a secretary, I went to Piedmont Technical College and I studied secretarial science, so I know how to talk about that. So there are different types of secretaries and administrative assistants that you can be. If I'm in a secretarial position where I'm working with other people and I have a supervisor that just gives me the work and I do it, I don't have to really make any decisions, I get comfortable there. Then if I have an opportunity to be promoted, I might hesitate, because if I'm promoted, then I'm going to have more responsibilities other than just typing whatever is in my box. So you will have to deal with those sort of things. I remember years and years ago, I met a lady that worked for the federal government in Washington, D.C. And she was a lower ranking clerical person. And she had been in that position, and she told me this herself. She had been in that position, sitting in the same chair at the same desk for 10 or 15, 20 years, and she had no intent of moving up. And when I asked her why, she says because she was comfortable where she was, the pay suited her needs, and there was no reason for her to transition into something else where she was going to have a lot of stress. So she stayed where she was until she retired. You can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have a desire to move forward, then you do want to start getting yourself in a position so that you can do that comfortably. And you do have to deal with the fear, the anxiety, the stress, the self-doubt, the guilt. And we're going to talk about how all those things look. When you're looking for another position, we'll stick with jobs, because that's where most people transition, either into new jobs or they retire. So you are positioning yourself to go into another job, a higher ranking job with more responsibilities. So you have to deal with, what is it you are really doing? What are you contemplating? Okay, if I take this job, then blah, 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 blah is going to happen. And you have to look at more than one thing. You can't just only look at the job itself. You have to look at how it's going to affect you personally, how it's going to affect your home life, how it's going to affect your work life. And so we are going to go into some of the different things that you want to look at in that position. Thank you. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back to Audreyann's Moments. And so now we were talking about some of the things that you want to make sure that you have in place in your mind and on paper. It's always good to get this stuff out of your mind and put it on paper, because that way you can actually look at it and it's not taking life in your head and making you crazy. So you're looking at all of these, you're looking at, okay, what is it exactly that you want to do? What is it exactly that, these are some of the questions you want to ask yourself when you're contemplating a move of any type. What is it you actually want to do? Where is it you actually want to go? What is it you actually need to do for yourself now in order to be prepared to make that move? If you want to move into a higher position, what is it that you have to do for yourself now in order to be ready for that move? Do you have to take more classes? Do you have to get some sort of certification? Do you have to talk to somebody? Of course you would, but is there, what is it you have to do? You want to find all those things out. Have them in your little notebook so that when you're ready, you can just go down the checklist and check these things off to make sure you are completely prepared for what it is you want to do. Spiritually, is this thing, of course it's going to give you stress, but your spiritual connection will help you to overcome that stress. So you will be wanting to pray more, you will be wanting to meditate more on the move to make sure it is the correct move for you. When I was moving from one state to the other where I live now, I had a notebook, and in that notebook, I had lists upon lists upon lists. I had a separate list for every single thing that was going to come up because of the move. And I checked off each box on each list as I got it done. I didn't just pile everything in on one list. I separated the list into compartments so that I could easily see, okay, do I have the right amount of boxes? Do I have the right type of boxes? If I run out of boxes, where do I go to get more? What am I giving away? What am I keeping? What am I packing up in these type of boxes as opposed to the other type of boxes? Also, did I change my address? Did I do, I mean, every single thing that you could think of, I had a list for. It was either on a list or it was on its separate list so that I could check it off as I went along. And it helped me out a lot because when I got everything in the truck, got moved, then when I got here, I was able to continue the list. Go to the post office, blah, 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 blah. And those are a lot of things that we don't think about because we're having so much anxiety about getting into the house, finding where your job is, where's the hospital compared to where's the post office, where is the whatever. So my list kept me from going completely insane when I moved. So those are some things that will really help you when you're going along the way. So we've already talked about what transition actually is. So now I'm hoping that you have a good idea, whether it's changing jobs, whether it's getting married, whether it's moving to another state, even getting a divorce. If there's no way to get a divorce without knowing you're going to get a divorce. So if you're going to get a divorce, it's a horrible thing in itself, getting a divorce. And then on top of that, all the things that have to be done, all the things that you have to prepare for to do alone that you used to do with a partner. Now you're having to do it alone. So you have to make sure that you're on top of things, because if not, things will fall in a hole, and you will be even more depressed than what you normally would. Even if you are happy about the divorce, you are still going to have some measures of depression because you are losing something that was a big part of your life. And we will be talking at another time about depression and grief and marriages and things. But for today, in transition, even that falls under transition. So you want to make sure that you are have your list and that you're checking off your list to make sure that you have everything in place. And we'll be right back.
Soul. R&B, classic hits, gospel, southern soul, and jazz. What do they all have in common? I can tell you. Emerald City Radio. Tune in to Emerald City Radio at www.emeraldcityradio.com. Do you like Italian or Sicilian cooking? Well, check out Olive Branch Mediterranean and Italian Grill. They have a wide variety of calzones made with their handmade dough. So whether steak, veggie, ham, or Italian, just to name a few, you can't go wrong. They also have organic salads, Olive Branch kebabs, gyro, beef, or chicken shish kebabs, Olive Branch specialty pizzas, Olive Branch pastas. Yes, I know you're getting the picture. Olive Branch Mediterranean Grill. Dine in or take out. You can't go wrong. Let Olive Branch cater your next event. Stop by today. The Olive Branch is located 109 Birch Tree Drive, Greenwood. They're open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call them today. 864-407-4100. That's 864-407-4100. That's the Olive Branch.
I know you have heard about some of the things that are different stages. So when we talk about grief, we talk about the different stages of grief. And grief has a lot of different components to it. It's not only because you lost a loved one through death. It's because you lost a home, you lost a job, you lost a partner, you lost a pet, you lost something. And even if the loss was planned, as what we're talking about today, you're planning to move to a different job. You're planning to move into a different house. You're planning to, go to a different state or even a different country. It's still going to cause some manner of grief because you're leaving something behind that you have been accustomed to. And so a lot of times people move into their new job, and even though they're doing well, they still miss what they left. And that's why we try to keep in contact with our old co-workers, our friends, and so that we can hear what's going on at the old job, even though now we're making new friends in the new job, and we're having new surroundings. We still don't want to give up totally what we left behind. So let's talk about some of the emotions that we go through. If it is something that happened instantly without your knowledge, say your job closed down and everybody got laid off. Well, you no longer have a job. My niece was working at a little food place, and they came into work and there was a note on the door said, gone fishing, not coming back. That sort of a note, and your checks in the mail, which they never got. So a shock like that can cause a lot of anxiety because, first of all, you thought you had a job and now you don't. And not only that, you don't know if you're going to get any more money from that job while you're looking for another job, and you have bills to pay. You have people depending on you. You have children to feed. If you don't have children, you have a pet. If you don't have you have you that you have to take care of until you can find another job, and you may not have 6 months worth of income in the bank for such an emergency. We are encouraged to do that, but how many people actually do that? So, you are stressed because now you're standing there in front of where you used to work, and all of these things are flooding through your mind because you don't know what you're going to do now. You could also, sometimes there's guilt because you feel guilty that you left your friends behind at your other job, or maybe the type of job you had before, you were responsible for other people and they depended on you, and now you're moving and they have to get used to somebody else. I was in the Navy, and that happened every 3 years. Every 3 or 4 years, my environment changed, either because people within my environment were coming and going, or I was coming and going. And so you miss the people, like I said earlier, you miss the people that you left behind. You are worried about what's going to become of the people that you left behind, while you are going and learning this new job and learning the new people that you're going to be involved with in your new position. So there is always some measure of guilt. If you are moving to a new state, just think about it. You have your neighbors that you're going to be leaving behind, your favorite post office, your bank. If you have a relationship with your bank tellers, you're leaving them behind. Your church, you're going to have to go to a new church, so you're leaving your church behind. So you feel some guilt about the things that you left behind while you're going to this new adventure. Depression. You are going to be depressed, but it's not a major depression. It's just the stress of it all. And as you deal with those things that are causing stress, then you will start feeling better. You won't have to go on medication or go to a psychologist. I would recommend a coach. I would recommend a life coach, because a life coach can help you navigate all that checklist that you have, making sure that you don't miss anything and making sure that your stress level stays intact. You're going to be reflecting on this new life, and am I really ready? Well, at this point, you have to be ready because you're already in the new life. And so just embrace it, enjoy it, and start going out. If you're moving to a new city especially, start adventuring out, learning where everything is, learning what are all the little nooks and crannies of things. You know, if you like antiquing, find out where the antique shops are in that town. You know, if you like, if you had a favorite place that you hung out, find some place that is to become your favorite place to hang out. Start learning your neighbors and just start embracing yourself with it. And then, you know, you won't feel that loneliness of leaving everything behind. And you'll be able to start becoming happy in your new place. We'll be right back.
Soul, R&B, classic hits, gospel, southern soul, and jazz. What do they all have in common? I can tell you. Emerald City Radio. Tune in to Emerald City Radio at www.emeraldcityradio.com.
Come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We open Tuesday through Saturday from 7:30 to 5. And we specialize in oil, tires, and brakes, wheelbarrows, CV axles. And but military discount is every day. And on the Wednesday we have Senior Citizen Day. So come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We got everything you need. Thanks.
One of the things we worry about is loneliness. I remember when I moved here, the city where I lived in Virginia. I was in the military, so I had retired from the Navy, and I stayed in the area where I was in Norfolk, Virginia, because my son was still in school, and I didn't want to take him out of school. So I stayed there, and I made a life as a civilian in that area. Well, then it was time to move. So I moved to South Carolina, and it was entirely different from what I'm used to. You know, the town I moved to was small, a lot slower pace, a lot less places to go and to find things that I'm used to and to do things that I'm used to doing. And even though I have family here, and I had to kind of start making new friends, and I miss my old friends. And one of the things, even now, 15 years later, I still have a connection with my old friends, and we do text messaging. We text each other all the time, and when I'm up in that area, we always get together and visit, and they catch me up on everything that's been going on, and so I still have that connection, and that's a good thing to do. If you have really good friends in the area where you're leaving, keep in touch with them. Don't just dismiss them. You know, sometimes in the Navy, we lose track of people because they're all constantly moving. And there was no Facebook and Instagram and text messaging, you know, when I retired from the military. So transferring meant that you had to keep up with addresses, and sometimes that was extremely hard to do. But now you don't have that issue. If you move to another town, you have Facebook, you have text messaging, so you can keep up with the people that you want to keep up, and you can make sure that they keep up with you. So that way you don't have to worry about the loneliness while you're learning new friends in your new area. And the same thing with a new job. If you move to a new job in the same company, then of course you'll be able to keep up with them. But if you move to a new job in a different company, then you're going to have new friends in the new company, and you're still going to have your old friends in the company where you were. And this will be an upward turn for you. If this is something you've been wanting, then obviously it's going to be an upward turn for you. It's going to be something that's going to help you to move forward in your life, in your career, which is what you want. You don't want to become stagnant where you are just because it's comfortable. You want to be able to be challenged, move up into a new position, be able to realize your actual competencies of being able to do more things and do better things. So allow yourself that ability to be able to do those things. Don't make yourself stagnant, because you're just sabotaging yourself instead of giving yourself that upbeat oomph that it needs in order to move forward. And yes, you're going to have to work through some things. Yes, you're going to have to reconstruct some things, but it's all good because you're learning new things and you're moving in a new direction. And so, of course, there are going to be things that are going to be new to you that you're going to have to figure out. But your brain needs that. Your mind needs that. You need to be able to use your brain and your mind so that you can reconstruct things and give it something new to do, to regenerate, your brain muscles. And hope. Hope is a wonderful thing, because hope, once you get settled in this new job, in the new position, now you see you can do more. And so now this gives you that hope of being able to move again, when the time comes, not the next day, but when the time comes, okay, now I am still alive from this transition. So now I can move forward to the next one. And which is what happens with military people. In the beginning, it's really hard. You leave home, you go to boot camp, and then you got to figure all of that out. And then now you've become attached to the people at boot camp, but now you got to leave them and go to your first real duty station, and you're there for 3 or 4 years. And just about time you feel that you are comfortable and complacent, they move you again. So, and every time you move, you're learning more things, you're learning new things, you're learning how to be better and move forward. So and that's what you want to do. And your brain is loving it. Your mind is loving it, because it's soaking in all of these new things and these new areas and these new people, and you're learning how to do better. So we'll be right back. As we've been talking today, we've been talking about how to transition without totally stressing yourself out, and how to pull yourself back in so that you are not dealing with anxiety and dealing with depression. So you're learning satisfaction. You're learning how to be satisfied in the new, as well as leaving the old. Contentment is a good thing, but we don't want to be complacent. Okay. So that's complacency is a good reason to move, because that means we're not growing. Okay. So we want to be content, but we don't want to be complacent. And we want to be fulfilled in our position. And if you're in the same position for a really, really long time, and you're just doing the same thing over and over again, at some point you are no longer going to be fulfilled, because you're not learning how to do other things. So fulfillment is a very good reason for wanting to try to do new things and move in a different direction. Pride in yourself. Pride, the Bible said pride cometh before the fall. So we don't want to be prideful. What we want to be is proud of our ability to be able to take in all of the new the same way we did with the old, And serenity. Serenity is always a good thing, because that means we have peace in our decision to move forward. And if it's a situation where we had no choice but to move. We want to gain that peace. We want to gain that ability to be able to find that fulfillment, find that contentment in the new position and in our new situation. So let's look on the bright side. It's all about your mental game. It's all about learning how to allow your mind to accept the new. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves to accept the new. We just keep moving on and staying where we are. So we want to allow ourselves to accept the new. I want you to do something for me. Every day, morning or evening, I want you to write down 3 blessings in the morning, 3 blessings that you want to see happen during that day. And in the evening, 3 blessings that actually occurred. And I want you to look, in the evening, I want you to look for things good that happened during that day. Because even if you had a bad day, something good happened. Either that you did for someone or someone did for you. So I want you to do that for yourself and do it every day so that you will feel the blessing and you won't have anxiety over your transition. I love you and I thank you, and we'll see you next time.